welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Nicole and I am a part-time reseller on Poshmark. And before we get started with this week's video, I just wanted to let you guys know that we hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel, and I am so excited and so grateful for you all for being a part of this journey with me. I can't believe how much of a journey this has been. It's been so fun, but also so stressful at the same time, and especially for someone that wasn't really used to being on camera that much beforehand, and now we've made it to 1,000 subscribers in a little over a year. So I am so thankful and so grateful for you all. And so just as a way to show my appreciation for you guys, I wanted to do a little giveaway. I know we just did one for 1,000 sales, but I wanted to do another one for this milestone as well. So stick around till some point in this video when I will talk about how you enter the giveaway, and also make sure that you check the description to make sure that you are fully entered. And without further ado, let's get right into today's video. So today we are going to talk about reasons why your items are not selling on Poshmark. This is such an important topic, and I see so many people always asking why their items aren't selling, or why they have slow sales, or what's going on. So many people daily, I get asked, so many different places, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, everyone's always asking me, how do I get consistent sales? Why are my items not selling? All these different things, and they all kind of stem back to the same reasons. So this is going to be covering why your items are not selling and how you can get your items to start selling to then get more consistent sales. So if you haven't seen last week's video, I talk about how to get consistent sales. You definitely want to check that out. But this one's going to be how to fix your listings in particular to then make them sell more, because I know this is like a sensitive subject for a lot of us. We don't know why our items aren't selling half the time, and so this video is going to kind of touch upon that. And so if that is something that interests you, please feel free to keep watching. And yeah, so let's get right into the video. Let's talk about why your items aren't selling. And these are things that you can change right now, and they will make a big difference. The first reason that your items are not selling is because you don't have good descriptions, or good pictures, or good listings in general. This is such a big one, and especially from being a small business, being someone that, you take the photos yourself, you're not a company doing this, you need to make sure that your listings and pictures and descriptions and titles are all really good. So make sure that your photos are good, make sure they're taken in good lighting, make sure you're showing every angle of the photo, make sure you're taking every angle of the item, make sure your pictures are not blurry, because believe it or not, I'll scroll through so many listings where some of the pictures are blurry and you can't even see what the item actually is. So make sure you don't have blurry pictures. Make sure that, the real color of the item is being shown. Make sure that the color of the item is actually consistent through all of the pictures. I've seen so many times where, like, in one lighting, it's like a bright red, and then in another lighting, it's like a maroon. What color is it? I don't know. So make sure that it's consistent amongst all of the listing pictures. Make sure you're showing flaws and every spot that you can of the item. Make sure you're showing textures if there's texture differences. Make sure you're showing measurements, because again, this is so key. And make sure you're showing how it fits. If you can, put it on a mannequin. If you can, style it yourself, wear it. But if you can't, put it on a hanger, put it on a backdrop. That will also work. And also make sure that you don't have like a busy, chaotic background. You kind of want the background to be very simple. I recommend a white background. Not everyone has a white background, but if you don't, an easy way to fix this is just use the app called Photo Room. This is not sponsored by them. I love them. I swear by them. I use them every single listing I have. I just white out the background of every photo, and it makes it look so much more professional. And also, Google gives priority to those listings that have a white background. So I just highly recommend whiting out the background. It goes a really long way. But make sure your pictures are all really good, and actually take the time to take good photos, because you don't want to have to go back and backtrack. And also, if they're not, it's going to make the item really not sell that quickly. And so another good thing to make sure that you're doing is make sure your descriptions and titles are good as well. So I've seen a lot of times where some people just don't describe the item very well in their descriptions, or where their title is the exact same thing as the description, or where they just have one sentence in the description where they say like new with tags, no flaws. Like, that doesn't really help the person figure out if they should buy or not. Maybe talk about how it fits, maybe talk about the textures in it, maybe talk about if it runs true to size, maybe talk about, the coloring, or different things like that. You want to be very descriptive because that's going to help someone buy more. And a lot of the times I actually get a lot of people asking me for measurements. So I never really used to list measurements in pictures. I've been trying to keep up with it now. But actually today I got 3 people on 3 separate items asking for measurements. So this is a reason why your items aren't selling to begin with, because people they don't know if the item's gonna fit them or not. So they have to ask they have to ask for measurements. And a lot of the times people don't want to have to do this. So if I had just provided those listings with measurements to begin with, I could have sold the items a lot quicker. So make sure that if you're not using measurements in your pictures, make sure that you're actively putting it in the comments or something to help somebody out, because it's going to help you sell the items a lot quicker. I can't stress this enough on how important it is to have good descriptions, good titles, good listings. Make sure that your titles are, you're describing the brand, the size, the fit, the colors, the style, like literally anything about it, describe it. They give you a long title for a reason. Definitely use it. The next reason that your items are not selling on Poshmark is because you don't have good listings. This means that your items, the inventory that you have, are things that people don't want. You might have old styles, you might have, styles that aren't really worth buying secondhand. You may have things that just people don't want, or you just may have the wrong brands. It's so important to make sure that the inventory that you have is good brands, good styles, trendy styles, or things that people want. So I've started getting away from like basic styles, like basic tees, basic pants, different things like that, because people don't really want basic things. They want more like intricate things, or things that like they want to spend money on. And I've been really starting to take a look at like what I'm adding to my closet, because once you start just filling it up with a bunch of listings that people don't really want, people aren't going to want to shop from you. And also I've noticed too, when you fill it up with too much junk, it actually gets people to not shop your closet. So I know people always talk about like the more listings you have, the more likely you are to make sales. Yes, that is true for most of the time, but if you have listings that people don't want, you're not going to make more sales from that. So it kind of goes hand in hand. You have to have good quality with good quantity. So it's important to kind of make sure that you have both of these, but definitely don't, get not good items and then just have a lot of them, because people aren't going to want to buy that. So make sure that the items that you're sourcing are good items, and make sure that when you're sourcing them, you're not paying too much for them, because you want to be able to make a profit on them. Okay, real quick, before we go on to the next tip, let's talk about the giveaway. So for the giveaway for 1,000 subscribers, I wanted to give back to you guys for getting me to this point. I am so grateful for all of you that are here with me on this journey. So if you want to be entered into the giveaway, there are a few quick steps that you need to follow to be entered. 1, make sure that you're subscribed. And 2, make sure that you like this video, and make sure that you comment down below letting me know what your favorite platform to sell on and why. I'm so curious to see where other people love to sell and what their favorite platform is and why. So definitely comment that down below, and make sure that you're subscribed and that you like this video to be entered into the contest. I will be picking the winner within a week or so after the giveaway is live. Okay, so the next reason that your items are not selling is because your pricing is just not good. So this is a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, because people don't want to be told that their pricing is wrong. But you'd be surprised how many times I've seen, a pair of Target flip-flops that don't normally go for anywhere normally above like 15 to 20 bucks. I see them listed at like 40. And so it's just unrealistic, unreasonable, and nobody's going to want to buy that. So you have to be careful with your pricing. You need to make sure that your pricing is reasonable, and you want to make sure that you take into account that the buyer is going to pay shipping on top of your price. So if you have something listed at $10, keep in mind that they're not paying $10, they're paying $17. So that makes a big difference, because that nearly doubles the price. So you have to kind of be reasonable, but also keep in mind that you want to make a profit as well. And this could be really tricky, because especially if you are selling those basic styles, it makes it hard to actually sell an item cheap, because then you're not going to make a lot of profit on it. That's why I don't really tend to buy those basic styles, because I don't feel like it's worth it for the buyer themselves. I try to take into account what I would actually want to pay for an item if I was buying it. So just be cautious when you're picking up items, and make sure that you're not listing them too high. You want to make sure that your pricing is kind of comparable to the other people that are selling the item, or where it's being sold other places. So a good way to see this is look up the comps, look up where it's selling on Google Lens, and just kind of get an idea of where you should price. But if you price too high, the items are not going to sell. The next reason that your items are not selling is because you have stale listings. This happens when an item sits too long and nobody is interested in it, nobody's buying it, and it just becomes stale. This is a term that's used on Poshmark to represent an item that has been sitting for a very, very long time, and it hasn't sold, it hasn't gotten a lot of interest, and a stale listing is considered something that's been sitting for longer than 60 days without being relisted. So a stale listing is something that has been sitting for longer than 60 days on Poshmark that hasn't sold. So a lot of us have those stale listings, but the key with a stale listing is you need to relist it. Because if it's stale, it's going to have a harder time to sell because it's not going to be showing up in people's feeds. So I know a lot of people talk about like what relisting is, but I don't think a lot of people actually understand what it means to relist an item. And still to this day, I see so many people talk about how, oh, I relisted the item, but it did absolutely nothing. Well, a lot of the times, if you relist an item and it does nothing, it's probably because you relisted it before that 60-day mark. And so when you copy the listing, it didn't have the same effect. So you need to do it after that 60-day mark, which is why I also recommend using a VA. I use Posture VA. This will determine when an item has been sitting for longer than 60 days, and then it will relist it for you. So you don't have to keep track anymore of like how long it's been sitting for. And once it gets relisted, it'll show up in the new items feed, and it actually will sell a lot quicker. This has happened to me several times in the last week where I've relisted an item and it's sold pretty much immediately, and it was sitting for a long time. So it is so important to not have stale inventory. If you have stale listings and they're not like selling, relist them. Get them relisted. People don't think that like it's that important, but it really is. It makes such a big difference. And you'll see when you start relisting your items the proper way after that 60-day mark, you will see a lot more sales coming in. So I can't recommend this enough. I can't stress it enough. Stop having stale listings. Get those items relisted, they will sell a lot quicker. And finally, the last reason why your items are not selling on Poshmark is because you're not sharing your items. This is so important, and again, I really can't stress this enough because people don't realize how much they actually have to be active on Poshmark. That is one of the biggest downsides of Poshmark is you need to be super active. You need to be listing, you need to be sharing, you need to be relisting, you need to be following, all of the above, but it is so important to do this, and if you don't do it, you're gonna have a hard time making sales. So I've actually been doing a trial the first couple of weeks of January to kind of see what happens. I have been sharing, relisting, and delisting every single day without fail. I've been writing it on a calendar so I don't lose track. And I've been very, very careful and making sure that I don't miss a day and that I'm sharing basically until I hit the sharing limit every single day. And I'm making sure that I do all this. And honestly, I've seen a big difference in sales. I've been a lot more consistent with sales, and I've been making a lot more sales. At the end of last year, I was doing these things, but I was taking a couple days off. I wasn't listing a couple days. I wasn't sharing every day. I wasn't doing all of these things, and I was seeing that it was affecting my sales, and I wasn't making those consistent sales. I wasn't making sales as often. I would go a couple days without making a sale. I would go, a week sometimes without making a sale. And I never understood what was happening, but now I've realized that you need to do these things every day. And a lot of the times people are like, oh, I do that every day. Or I don't have to worry about that. I'm already doing that. But you're not. And I kept telling myself that I was, and I know I wasn't. So it's really important to understand that you're probably not doing this, even though you think that you are. And so you cannot miss a day. You need to be super consistent with this, and that's gonna be how it has the best impact. So make sure you're sharing those listings every single day. And some people say, I don't have time to share every day. But you know what? That's what a VA is for. A VA will do that all for you, and you don't have to worry about it. So people are like, oh, I'm busy, I have other things to do. Use your VA. They will share for you all day long, and then your closet will be on constant share, and you will make more sales that way. So it works out for the better and for everyone. If you just use the VA, they'll relist for you, they'll delist for you, they'll share for you, all of that, and you'll have more consistent sales coming in from doing that. So if you like this video, I have a lot more reselling content on my channel. I would love to have you check that out. But if you want to see a video on things that you should and shouldn't do on Poshmark, you can click right here. And if you want to see features that you should be using on Poshmark that are going to help you immensely, you want to click right here. But until next time, I'll see you then.